Hello and welcome to the Album Man, and today it's weekly rock news for the 7th of July 2013. So, there isn't a huge amount this week. It's going to be a fairly short one, but the return of CDs I've been listening to, well, albums I've been listening to recently, will return this week, so yeah, that's something, I suppose. Okay, so the first bit of news we have is that the surviving members of The Doors are going to be reuniting for a tribute show to Ray Manzarek, the Doors keyboardist, who very sadly died earlier this year. So Bobby Krieger, the guitarist, and John Densmore, they seem to be the only two left. But yeah, I mean, they're only playing one gig, so, you know, it's not too many, but, you know, it's like nice, I suppose. It'd be cool if they did more, you know, but, I mean, it really isn't The Doors. Without Manzarek and Morrison, I mean, you know, I don't think it's really The Doors, to be honest. Okay, so just the final word on Motorhead. So they've cancelled the remaining shows of their European tour as a result of Lemmy's health issues. It was just a few I talked about last week, but they've cancelled all the rest. And yeah, it just seems many different things. So it started with his hematoma. He seemed to like hit himself on the hip or something, and just then they had to drain the fluid, and then he nearly got pneumonia or something, and it's just a whole train of things have started happening with Lemmy. But, you know, it's hopefully he'll get better soon. You know, definitely wish him well. Lemmy is one of my favourite people in metal, if not my favourite. You know, big Motorhead fan. I very much look forward to Aftershock, which is due to be coming out later this year. It was The World Is Yours, released in 2011, was not only one of my albums of that year, but I think one of Motorhead's best albums. Just a phenomenal album if you haven't already checked it out. One other thing about Motorhead that I did hear that was a bit, apparently, well, it was an interview with Phil Campbell or something, and he was saying that you know, they plan to at least do, you know, a few more albums, which is good. But after Aftershock, they want to do a covers album. Yeah, I hope that doesn't come to fruition, to be honest. No. Okay, another bloody band releasing a bloody film. I don't get this whole trend. So Aerosmith now are releasing a concert movie, Rock for the Rising Sun, which will be shown at 10 cinemas across the UK on July 16th. And this was shot in 2011 after Steven Tyler ignored advice to avoid playing Japan in the aftermath of the earthquake and tsunami. But instead, they did. So yeah, and they recorded it, and now they're showing it in cinemas, because that's what people want to see. And the nearest it's being shown to me is in the Manchester Lowry, which that's quite a small screen there, but yeah, what is it with bands releasing films? We have Metallica's 3D film, Through the Never. We have Quoes, which, at least Quoes isn't a concert. Quoes is just way worse. But I don't quite get, I wouldn't go to the cinema to see, you know, a concert, to be honest. If I wanted to see the band live, I'd go and see them. If I wanted to watch one of their shows, then I might buy the DVD or just watch it on YouTube. I wouldn't pay to go to the cinema, especially how bloody expensive, you know, cinemas and stuff like that is. It seems a little weird. Yeah, and it's only available on DVD 1 week later. So yeah, I don't know who's going to go and see that, but whatever. Bands seem to like doing these film things now, and they should just focus on writing, recording, and touring. Okay, before we get to the biggest news of this week, or in my opinion, just a couple of albums that, you know, just want to talk about that are going to be released soon, just briefly. So Annihilator are releasing a new album, their 14th studio album, Feast. I quite like Annihilator. I like some of their, you know, classic material. I don't know huge amounts from them, but I might check it out. I love the song, I think it's Alice in Hell, also, it's a fantastic song. One of the things about this album that, well, seems a bit odd to me, is that there's a bonus disc called We Kill, and yeah, there's 9 new songs and then 50, and it seems possibly re-recorded songs. Oh god. I hope that's just a bonus edition or something, because if that is on the standard edition, like with Quo's latest album, then that's not going to go down well with me at all. Okay, and lastly on the album release front, we have apparently Avenged Sevenfold releasing a new album, coming out August 26th, the same day as the Annihilator one, their 6th album, and yeah, I don't know who's, have they got a new drummer? I think they must have got a new drummer by now, because it was Portnoy was on Nightmare, the only reason I want to hear that album. Hopefully they won't use auto-tune on this one, because I definitely noticed some on some of the ballads on that album, which I wasn't impressed by, even though some of the stuff is okay. You know, it's very catchy, very commercial sound, but auto-tune, no. You know, that doesn't impress me. I may review it, I'll see. I'm not sure, you know. I quite like the Beast and Harlot album, whatever, the one with that song on, that's a decent album, I have that, but except for that, not really much of an Avenged Sevenfold fan. Okay, and the biggest news is some good old Boston related news, and oh, I do love Boston, and this is that the Boston founder Tom Schulz has been ordered to pay a newspaper $132,000, that's, you know, a lot of money, in court costs after he sued for defamation and lost. So basically this is about that in 2007 the lead singer of Boston, Brad Delp, committed suicide. He was only like maybe 50 or late 40s or something, you know, young, but just killed himself, literally. I think it was death by carbon monoxide poisoning, yeah, so that was pretty tragic. And basically in the newspapers at the time, the Boston Herald reported that, they say, to quote, beaten down by the years of dealing with Tom Schulz. So almost it could be interpreted as inferring that maybe Tom Schulz was partly responsible for it, which obviously it wasn't. So he sued for defamation and lost. Because, really, I mean, that line, beaten down by the years of dealing with Tom Schulz, that doesn't really infer much, to be honest. It doesn't. So the judge decided that basically the effect that if the newspaper had to pay up would be, you know, more, as they wouldn't report more important stories. It's basically just a silly thing, to be honest. I don't know why he quite sued for it, and now he's going to have to pay so much money as he lost. So, silly person. And apparently Boston are working on a new album. I mean, bear in mind their last album was 2002, and they're not known for their progress. I mean, the first one was, yeah, like 76, I think the second one like 78, and then the third one was like 88 or something ridiculous. They take long gaps. Ever since the first and second one they were close because record company pressure, but ever since then, so I think there's only been about 5 Boston albums since the 70s. It's ridiculous. Okay, so let's move on to what I've been listening to this week. So we'll start with a good bit of GNR. Been listening to the live album, which I always think it's a brushed on, to be honest. No one really ever talks about it. People just talk about the studio albums, but this live album, it's fantastic. Yes, it's not actually a live album in the traditional sense, it's just a compilation of live songs from 87 to 93. But it's fantastic. I mean, live versions of November Rain with an epic intro from Axl. You know, live versions, literally all the classic songs. Paradise City, Sweet Child, Knocking on Heaven's Door, Night Train, you know, Mr. Brownstone, just everything. The only song I personally would have liked, there's a live version of Civil War on here. That would have been cool. But except for that, it's a fantastic live album. That, yeah, any GNR fan should definitely own this 2-disc thing, just fantastic. Been listening today in particular to a little bit of Magnum, Brand New Morning. This is their first album after they got back together because they split in the mid-90s to form, the lead singer and the guitarist Bob Catley and Tony Clarkin formed Hard Rain, which was weird to say the least. Because Magnum, basically they tried to like become big in America, tried to go for America and failed quite miserably. So that caused tensions and stuff. But yeah, this album's their first return, and damn is it good. I mean, it is just phenomenal. The title track, Brand New Morning, especially Breathe For You, The Last Goodbye, just every single track, and then it ends with the 10-minute epic, The Scarecrow. It's just a phenomenal hard rock, sort of pomp rock album. If you like, your melodic, pomp rock, hard rock, whatever, it's just fantastic album. And I always recommend Magnum. And of course we're speaking of Boston, so here I have the cover up on the wall over there, so I'm afraid I don't have it here, but yes, this is Boston's first album I've been listening to. Picked it up about a month ago, and God, I just love this album so much. It's so good. Just there isn't a bad song on it, from the classic More Than a Feeling, which kicks off the album, and God, that's epic, to the songs like Smoking. It's just not a weak song. Just Brad Delp's voice, phenomenal. Tom Schulz's guitar, again, it's just breathtaking. It's just an amazing album. I'm sure pretty much everyone already knows, but still just stone cold classic. And then also I've been listening to a little bit of Heart, Bad Animal. This is one of the late 80s albums. I prefer earlier Heart personally, but I just picked this up, saw it at a car boot, why not? It's Heart. But yeah, it's definitely a decent album, very 80s sounding. Has that big, over the top 80s production to it, and yeah, I mean, it's definitely a product of its time, but it has some catchy tunes on it, stuff like Who Are You One To and Alone and Wait For An Answer. Yeah, it's a solid album, nothing amazing, but it's a solid Heart album. And yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say for this episode of Weekly Rock News. So this has been the Album Man. Thanks for watching, and as usual, long live rock and roll.